What's going on, guys? It's Oz coming at you with another story time. So today's story is going to be a little bit weird. It's probably something that I didn't really think that I'd be talking about on my channel. But today's story is going to be my first experience with the Mary Jane. Yes, that's right. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the first time I smoked marijuana because, like a lot of people, I didn't get high my first two times. Whether I was smoking it wrong, maybe not inhaling, I really don't know at this point in my life. But it could have been the case. But the first time that I actually got high off weed is the time that we're going to talk about. And we'll kind of, and keep this a theme because obviously Trudeau is bringing in the legalization. So go Canada. You guys have fun. So, all right. So essentially, the first time that I ever got high on weed, it was funny because I went up to my older brother's room and I ended up taking a little bit of weed from him out of his weed jar, because I knew he always had weed. So I could basically take it from him and he wouldn't know. And I took such a small amount because I didn't actually know what gets you high. I took such a small amount and some papers. And I tried to roll a little joint. And when I rolled this joint, essentially it was more paper. Like it was more paper being twisted together than it was actually weed. But there was little clumps of weed in there. So it was like a very bumpy little, I guess you would call it a pinner. So it was a very, very, very small joint. So very, very small. And more or less it was more paper than weed. So I end up rolling this, and it takes me maybe 15 to 20 minutes rolling this thing. I then decide, hey, it'd be a great idea, because I think maybe this is just like cigarettes or something. I'm like, it'd be a great idea to just smoke this while I'm playing a League of Legends game, and we'll see how it goes. So I start playing a League of Legends game, and I smoke the weed, and I didn't really notice anything. I didn't really cough or anything. It was just, kind of whatever. I smoked it and everything was fine. And then after the game, I really, really started to trip out. Everything started getting really, really slow for me and I couldn't really think properly. When I was playing the game, I just didn't understand what was going on, and I lost track of time. My perception of time completely changed. It was actually a really, really scary situation because, I legitimately, at that point, I legitimately thought, multiple times, I'm going to be the first person to overdose on weed. And I understand how ridiculous it is. I understand everything about, that whole subject. But at the time, I didn't. I was very uneducated. I didn't know what I was doing. And this is what happened. So anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm tripping balls. I'm literally just off my rocker thinking I'm going to be the first person to overdose on weed. This is terrible. What am I going to tell my parents when they find out? Everything, just losing my absolute mind. It was really hard to kind of keep my composure. I really tried to play another League game to get my mind off of it, and I really, really, really couldn't. I just couldn't keep focused on it. It was absolutely terrible. Well, the League game was terrible. The experience, not so much. Now, keep in mind, I say that this is all terrible, but I really liked it. I was enjoying it, kind of. I guess after I realized what it was fine. Because there was the one crucial point at night when I was on the computer, still kind of having those thoughts that, I'm not gonna, I don't know, they're irrational thoughts now, but I actually thought, there was gonna be something wrong. I was gonna end up in the hospital tonight, absolutely. And then I kind of just told myself, no. You're just really fucking high. You need to just sleep this off. And that's what I did. And then I woke up the next day and I was just like, let's do that again. Now, how much I smoke these days, that's totally besides the point, not relevant. I'm not going to say that I do a lot. I'm not going to say that I don't do at all. So I'm not going to touch the subject at all because I don't really want it to be a part of my channel. But at the same time, I figured, putting up my first experience would be something that everyone would kind of enjoy and see if that can relate to you. Now, like, keep in mind there was like the 2 times before I like actually got high, and the 2 times I just smoked a pipe out with like Taco Bell coworkers and whatnot, and I didn't really get high. There was this Arab chick that was really into me at the time, and that's who wanted me to smoke the weed. That didn't work out. I wasn't feeling it, and I was a little shy kid too, so I wasn't, all up in that. I didn't have game, as the young kids would call it. Is that what they call it? Game? Yeah, game. All right. I didn't have game back then. Got game now, but yeah, not back then. Anyway, yeah, that's my first weed story. Definitely a good experience. Maybe not at first, but once I settled my mind and got myself to bed, it was definitely a good experience. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed the story. I know this one was a little bit shorter than normal. I am working on a really, really kind of big story. It's not gonna be too long, but it's gonna be really, really well done. It's gonna be a kind of a serious story too. So just be ready for that. It's not all gonna be funny stories. So that one is being planned. So if you want to see that, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and you'll be up to date. Have a great night, guys. Take care.